What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. So let's get into this beautifully honest reaction. Listen, guys, it seems like this Shirley Strawberry situation and Ernest Williams and Steve Harvey at this point, because I'm not going to exclude him from the situation, especially after the stunt, I'm going to call it a stunt, that they pulled a couple of days ago happened, will not die. I'm going to give my reaction to a portion of Chroniclespeaks expose on so much when it comes to Shirley and Ernest. But basically, the reason I am not excluding Steve from the situation, even though he has not been charged, is because when Shirley did this this live Shirley Strawberry letter that they want to call it, which in all honesty was just her apologizing to Steve for her having a private, albeit recorded, conversation with her husband about a few things that happened, to include Steve's home, Marjorie, how she feels Marjorie treats her, was, her asking, please forgive me and don't let me go. Please don't fire me. And him going off on bloggers and people who talks about his wife, because it was mainly him praising Marjorie and how she's the best thing that ever happened to him and how she didn't interfere with anything. People just are not buying it, but you want to come out here and try to sell it when it was like you could have kept that, because people are going to feel how they want to feel regardless of him coming out and making this statement. The way people feel about it is he did his second wife dirty. People do believe that Marjorie was being involved with Steve while he was still married to Mary, and that Steve is working his ass to the grave to afford to have this wife. And hey, if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. Nobody's out here trying to break up his marriage. But when this story first broke and the news that was stated was that Shirley spoke with her husband about him having the opportunity to stay in Steve's home in Abu Dhabi. And although we have not heard that recorded call yet, at least I haven't heard that yet, I'm not excluding him from the situation, because he wants to get all on the radio and blast bloggers and people who are talking about the best thing that ever happened to him. You're the very best thing that's ever happened to me. I mean, he might as well just play that song. Hey, maybe he did. I don't know. But I will not forget that that is something that they were saying that she was having a conversation with Ernest about. And so they didn't take his passport for no reason, because obviously Shirley and Ernest don't have a home in Abu Dhabi. So are we just forgetting that? So anyway, I'm going to play a portion of this video from Chroniclespeaks where she's breaking a lot of things down, a lot. And of course, I'm going to put the full video in the description box, because she goes into detail about his co-defendant. And it explains even more to me about the co-defendant, because when you see the mugshot of this chick, and I know most people's mugshots are not glamour shots, but I was like, who would give this person their money and claims that they could help them to get their social media presence popping and get their online businesses to grow. But when you look at this woman before the mugshot, I guess it kind of makes sense. Again, I still question it, but listen, the day and age that we're living in with people with the online scamming and people wanting multiple streams of income and looking for other opportunities to make money besides either the current job that they're on, especially Black people. Let's just be clear. A lot of people get sold on this stuff because they get sold in the hype of the emotions that people are able to deliver in their marketing. And apparently that chick, Erica King, she used to be a pastor. So when I saw the clips of her praying and all that other stuff, I'm like, okay, that explains a lot. But let's get into Ernest and Shirley's living situation. Let's just get into it.
Now let's see how Shirley's life got messed up. So the two were married on January 9th, 2015, which happened to be Ernesto's 50th birthday. 4 months later, on May 12th, Ernest was locked up for theft by deception for some charges that happened 2 years earlier. Red flag, Shirley.
Okay, so this isn't this isn't something that happened many years later. Did you hear that? Theft by deception. Theft by deception. Okay.
We all heard on the radio Shirley say that she recently lost her house, but this wasn't the first nor second home that she's lost since being with Ernesto. 2 years after being married, Shirley and Ernesto were sued and kicked out of this beautiful 1,600 square foot Atlanta condo. They left owing over $12,000 in rent. 2 years after their marriage, Shirley signed a 1-year lease in LA for $7,500 a month for this home.
So that sounds like she was doing some crooked stuff too. You cannot tell me that she was just allowing him to do everything and she was just following along like a sheep and he was her shepherd and she didn't know that rent wasn't being paid. She is not innocent in this situation. And that's deplorable. Like, how could you be a professional giving people advice, albeit relationship advice, on the radio for so many years, and then you're not even paying your bills and you're hopping from home to home, getting evicted and getting in another place before the other people found out that you got evicted? I'm just like, wow.
She was 25 days late on the first payment, and after that, she paid nothing. She and Ernesto was sued by the company Pacific Shore Property Management and had to pay over $14,000 and was put out. Then they rented this 7,800 square foot home in Alpharetta, Georgia for $4,500 a month.
So do you hear that? The residence square footage when she is moving, and not just moving to move to a different area or whatever, but when they're being evicted, every place that they're going to and has been evicted from, the next place is even larger than the previous place.
Did good for a while, and then the pandemic happened. Now, as you remember, during the pandemic, there was a moratorium put out there to where you could not put your tenants out. However, after the moratorium was over, rent was still due, and if you did not make any payments, everything came due at once. These two were sued and evicted once again. This time, Shirley's wages were garnished. Shirley's bank account was garnished for $47,000.
Jesus. 40, and her bank account was garnished, and the fact that she was sitting on the radio almost to tears, just speaking like, I didn't know. You know, that's the type of tone that she was giving. So all of this stuff was going on. They were living foul, not paying rent, living the lifestyle, taking advantage of the pandemic where there was a rent moratorium, so landlords were not able to evict tenants. But when the opportunity came up, they were like, you're out of here, and we're going to take the money too. And obviously her name was on the leases because, I mean, I'm assuming Ernest probably didn't even have a legitimate bank account anyway. The type of lifestyle that he was living, I don't even really see him having a bank account. But they garnished her bank account and her wages for this rent.
He had to make payment until this was done. Then they rented this beautiful 8,500 square foot home.
Listen, like the square footage keeps going up. They started at 1,600. Then they went to, I don't know, I think it was like 3,500, then 7,400, now 8,500. Who lives like that except someone who is criminal minded, where you're not paying your rent and you're getting evicted to boot, and then you're going up, like you're just moving on up like the Jeffersons, but you are not paying your bills. This is crazy.
Roswell, Georgia, and they got evicted from this one too after owing $39,000 in rent. Now, Shirley bought this modest 1,800 square foot home in Inglewood, California in the early 2000s, way before Ernest came into the picture. She kept it until February of last year and sold it to one of those companies that seem like they just give you money really quick when you're wanting to sell fast.
And only people who really need money do that. Because listen, I get those letters in the mail all the time. I tear them up and throw them in the trash. They say, we'll buy your home cash as is, no closing costs, all this other stuff, no inspection, but they're going to give you the least for it. And then they're going to make big bank off of it because they're either going to upgrade it and then they're going to sell it for a profit, or they're going to rent it out. So doing that, when someone sells their home in that way, people only do that when they really need the cash and they're pretty desperate. I've been getting those letters for years. I tear them up, throw them in the trash. Sometimes, I'm not even going to lie, sometimes I get so pissed where I will contact the company and I said, take my name off of your list. Don't send me that BS anymore because I'm not selling my house.
Months later, this company turned around and sold it for $500,000 more than what Shirley sold it to them for. Shirley,
did you hear that? Did you hear that? They turned around and sold it for $500,000 more than what she sold it for. And see, and that's what I'm saying. They will buy it from you for pennies on the dollar. So they really take chances just sending them out to almost anyone, but they really do, unfortunately, target minorities. I'm just keeping it real. Even if you don't live in a minority area, but they do. So mainly people who sell it to them usually are minorities and people who are desperate for cash.
Shirley lost $500,000, and because she's had the home for so long, I think like 17 years, she should have had a lot of equity in it, but I'm not sure where that money went to.
And that's true. That's true, because I bought my home many years ago, so definitely sitting on the equity. So I get incensed and infuriated when I get these unsolicited offers to buy my home. I'm like, take my name off of the list because it's not happening. The only person who's going to be making profit off of this, if I ever choose to sell it, will be me.
With her having all this debt, the possibility she sold the house to pay these debts off. It seems like Shirley lived a comfortable, modest lifestyle until she got with Ernest.
See, and that's not smart. I don't know. Well, I mean, apparently she hasn't been getting any guidance from anyone that has any sense, and she probably didn't really want Steve to know her business. Not saying that he would have given her any good information himself, but he may have been able to direct her to somebody financially who could really assist her, because I'm no financial expert, but I would have probably told her, girl, just file for bankruptcy because that's your only home. The chances are you will get to keep it. They will not make you sell your home to pay the debts. Just file for bankruptcy. She should have consulted a bankruptcy attorney. if she was doing that to pay bills or debts off that she had. But again, I don't know. I'm just saying, based on what Chronicle Speaks said, that wouldn't have been a smart thing for her to do. But apparently she has definitely not been making smart decisions being with this dude, because she bought that home many years ago before she got with him. And that was a great asset that she had that had nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him. So I'm assuming his name was not on the deed. So that definitely wasn't a smart thing to do, because this dude has just been dragging her through the gutter. But it seems that she's been going along with it willingly and just trying to live this upgraded lifestyle and not paying your bills. Like, who does that? You are getting evicted, and every place you go to after getting evicted, it's an upgrade. I have never heard of anything like that.
Once she got with Ernest, everything had to be bigger. Everything had to be better. And the payments got bigger, and it doesn't seem like they were able to afford it. Ernest seems like the type to walk away from bills. You know what? Let it go. It's not mine. Shirley was not that type until she got with Ernest. Now she's more than likely drowning in debt, and he's not here to help her pay it.
See, this is why I say I feel like Shirley just became dick dumb. I feel like she hadn't had none in a lot of years, and was probably dick dumb before when she was getting the D. And then she finally got the D to marry her, had this elaborate proposal on the air, on, a public forum, had this lavish wedding, had Steve Harvey give her away. And so the dumb D that she was receiving was making her dick dumb. And then she just started going along with these crazy ideas and situations and living a lifestyle that she could not afford to live. Because when you heard the call, when she was talking to him about Steve's home, and just say, oh, you just look at it and it's just like, you just dream of what, life could be like. And so apparently she is that type that really wants to live that type of life. I'm not saying she's innocent in this at all. I'm not saying that, she just really wanted to live a simple life, but she was just with this terrible man. No, she was doing all of this stuff too. So it makes me question, what else was she involved in? Did she sign any documents? I'm just saying, I'm looking at her definitely differently. I was looking at her with a side eye before, but now that's that side eye that was slanted and closed a little bit is opening up a whole lot more on her. And I'm just like, wow. You know what? I don't know, but I feel like her days are numbered at the Steve Harvey Morning Show. I know she came out, did this apology on the air live, and then he made it about him. Because it was all about him. Because what I was expecting from her was her to come out, not give a chronicled detail of her life with this man from beginning to end. But I thought it was going to be about her, because the Strawberry Letter technically is about people who are writing in regarding relationship situations and asking for advice. So to make it about, I'm so sorry, Steve, that I know you both are going through your own personal hell right now. And just to have this thrown on top of all of that, it was about Steve and Marjorie. It wasn't about her. So now with all of this information coming out, which it is not anyone working in departments that are selling this information to bloggers. Steve, he knows how to spin stuff. He's not stupid. He's not stupid. He knows how to spin things. When he made that comment, I was like, you know what? This is bull, because the people who like him just because they want to like him, they will think that that's what bloggers are doing. But FOIA is a real thing. The Freedom of Information Act was an act that was passed many, many years ago. I want to say that act was passed while I was a legal assistant. And that gave anyone the right to information through federal agencies. You have to go through the right forums. You have to go through the right departments to access the information. But it's not some person who's working in some department in the Fulton County Jail that sold the information to a blogger. Like when he said that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Here we go with the bull skip. But anyway, guys, you heard all of that. If you haven't heard the entire video, I have the link to it in the description box below. But I was just like, wow, she was doing fine before she got with this nigga. And then she just became dick dumb. And then they're living this lavish lifestyle that she really couldn't afford to live, and doing it willingly, and then going from home to home, upgrading after being evicted from each place. I have never heard of anything like that. So this is a new one for me. Guys, let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section below. Thank you so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.